Hello, 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 hello. We are back again, once again. You know what it is. We're gonna recap week one, the rest of the games of week one, and then we're gonna make a predictions for week two. So I already talked about these first two games. Chiefs beating the Ravens and the Eagles beating the Packers. Now let's talk about the rest of these games real quick. Steelers and Falcons was a really boring game, scoring wise for the most part. Justin Fields did what he needed to do. He didn't really turn the football over, but he did make have a couple of bad plays. I remember I watched Red Zone. I watched a little bit of this on my main television, and then I kind of switched to Red Zone because it got kind of boring. He did have I believe he fumbled the first snap, and I believe he also had a couple of bad throws, but he didn't turn the football over after that. He played okay. He played basic game managing football, but the story of this game was the Steelers defense. TJ Watt took over and did whatever he wanted to do. I believe he stripped sack fumble I believe like two times, and I know Kirk Cousins threw a couple of interceptions. And basically, what we got from this game is that a lot of people are overrating Atlanta, including myself. Like I thought the Falcons would be we're gonna be a good enough team to win the division. I thought they were gonna be good enough to beat Pittsburgh, but clearly that's not the case. For what just the Steelers came in, and they showed up. They showed up and they showed out, and they kicked the land. They didn't really kick their ass, but they did what they needed to do. It was an ugly win for Pittsburgh, but that's how Pittsburgh wins most of the games recently, ever since Big Ben retired. Now this next game, Arizona and Buffalo, barely squeezing by Arizona. This was a shocker because Arizona was ahead by like I believe a touchdown. I think it was like 17-10 at the half. Because like I said, I was watching Red Zone. I don't remember all the scores off the top of my head, but I do know that this is the first ever kickoff return for a touchdown with the new kickoff system. So, congrats to Arizona for that, I guess. Josh Allen, the Bills weren't looking good, but Josh Allen was doing Josh Allen things. They came back and they won, and I'm glad for that because I have Josh Allen on my fantasy team, and unfortunately he didn't do enough to help me win. Well, it's not Josh. I didn't win because of not because of Josh Allen. He did his thing. Other players on my team didn't do their thing, but it is what it is. Cardinals were close, but I believe from what I saw, I believe Marvin Harrison Jr. only had one catch, and if the Cardinals are going to be a good football team, they need Marvin Harrison Jr. to get involved more in the game. So that's really all I have to say about that game. The the Bills offense looked really good after struggling in the first half. The receivers did their thing. Matt Collins scored. Shakir scored, and what's his name? The rookie receiver. I can't remember what his name is on the Bills, but he looks really good right now. Like it's starting off slow, but he's gonna get better each week, each game. He's gonna get better and better. He might be the number one receiver if I can remember his fucking name. Let's actually look it up real quick. Let's see if we can. It should show us on the stat sheet or something. Let me see. No, that's the game book. That's not what I want. Shakir, scramble. There you go. Stats. That's what I want. I want stats. Samuel. Oh, Keon Coleman. That's what his name. Yeah. 5 targets, 4 catches for 51 yards. All right, that's his name. Keon Coleman. He's gonna be a good player. He's gonna be a good receiver for the Bills eventually when he gets some more reps and more touches. Ah, crap. Oh, here we go. Week one. Now this next game, Bears barely beat the Titans by a touchdown. Titans were up early. Titans were seemingly the Titans were dominating, but Bears special teams came in. Bears defense dominated with a pick six. I believe they picked them off. I know they picked them off twice, but I believe they overall picked them off like 3 times. But yeah, Caleb Williams did not do a lot. Caleb Williams did not play a great game, and that is to be expected. We're all overhyping Caleb Williams, and I'm tired of the glazing. It's fucking annoying. Like everyone was on their hands and knees bowing to this man, wanting to suck his cock. It's just it aggravates me when we do this to rookie quarterbacks. Like just let them come in, let them learn, let them play, let them do that, let them struggle, because that is what is going to happen. They're going to struggle, especially in the beginning. So Caleb didn't have the best game, but he's lucky that they got a blocked punt for a touchdown and a pick six to basically help them win the game. And the Titans had it. Will Levis blew it. Will Levis did not play great. Yeah, they didn't have all their offensive weapons. I believe DeAndre Hopkins didn't play, but he still had Calvin Ridley. He still had Tony Pollard. He did okay. He got the touchdown to the one player. I forget what his name was, but yeah, Will Levis needs to be better. And this really is his only shot to prove prove to the Titans, and prove to the league that he can be a good, at least a capable starting quarterback. Now the biggest upset of the weekend: the Patriots beat the Cincinnati Bengals 16-10. So congrats to Gerard Mayo, and congrats to Gerard Mayo for winning that game. They won because of defense. Defense stole the show. Got two turnovers. Yes, I believe, yeah, two turnovers, because one of those plays was going to be a touchdown, but then Joe Burrow threw. We thought he threw a touchdown to Gesicki, but that got overturned. And I believe the next play, I forget what his name was, but a receiver caught the ball. He was going to run in, but a defensive player punched it out and recovered it. Fumble recovered, all that fun stuff. And this is what the Patriots have always been. They've always been a great defense. So this is most likely going to be the formula for the Patriots for the rest of the year. They just play great defense and have Jacoby Brissett manage the game, not turn the football over. Now, argue the best game of the weekend. The Colts barely lose to the Texans, 29-17. Texans, they come out on the road, same environment as essentially last year's playoff game, where we learned that they won the division that day because of the Jaguars losing the next day. So, but but the major questions for these two I've had for these two teams are the quarterbacks. CJ Stroud have a sophomore slump? But after today, it seems like he's not going to have that sophomore slump, and it seems like Joe Mixon is going to be the biggest key addition to this team. He kicked ass. He had like 150 rushing yards and a touchdown. So, in order for the Texans to be a great football team, they got to rely on Joe Mixon a lot. And obviously, Stephon Diggs got 2 touchdowns, and he's going to be a beast for them. So is Nico Collins. All the receivers are going to be great. Tank Dell. And the biggest question for the Colts was going to be Anthony Richardson's health. He played, I guess, okay last year before getting hurt, recovering from the surgery. He looked great. He knows he can throw a deep ball. He's just got to work on his accuracy. And then he had another pass. I believe was it a slant route? I don't remember what kind of route it was. I believe it was a slant, but he just threw that in there on the receiver's stomach, and somehow that didn't get. Somehow that ball did not get picked off. But it was a hell of a pass by Anthony Richardson. So even though the Colts lost this game, I think their future looks pretty bright with Anthony Richardson as their quarterback. Now to a damn close game, Dolphins and Jags. The Jaguars should have won this game, but the biggest play was ETN fumbling at the end, well, near the end zone, not at the end zone, but Dolphins player punched the ball out, and Dolphins player recovered in the end zone. That turned out to be the biggest play of the game. Trevor Lawrence looked good. It seems like that their first round draft pick, Brian Thomas Jr., he will eventually be a superstar wide receiver. Give him some more time, and he's going to be a great, great wide receiver. Let me just. And Tua had the most passing yards for this week. I believe it was like 330 some odd yards, somewhere around there, 330, 340, something like that. And he hit a bomb on Tyreek Hill for 80-yard touchdown after the whole incident of him getting cuffed before the game. This I want to say it was a surprise, but not really. Like, I knew the Panthers were going to be a really bad team. I didn't think it'd be this bad. I didn't think they were only going to score 10 points, and I didn't expect the Saints to kick their ass by 37, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, a lot of people before the season did not have the Saints as a like they were 9-8. They were 9-8 last year, and the only reason they lost the division was because Tampa Bay beat Carolina in that last game of the year. This it literally came down to the end of the year. So far, I know we're overreacting to week one, but it looks like it's going to be down the same route again. That the Saints and Bucks are going to be the top two teams in that division, and they are going to seems like that they're going to be the ones contending at the end of the year. I know, and like I said, I know it's only week one, but for the Panthers, Bryce Young does not look good at all. He looked awful. He looked terrible, and their future is definitely now in question because of it. And I hope and pray for Panthers fans, man. It's just terrible. Apparently, there are only tickets selling for like $1.80, which is insane. Like literally $1. I can't believe it. It's fucking nuts. Now, Vikings essentially crushed the Giants 28-6. We learned that JJ McCarthy is going to be done for the year, but Sam Darnold looked fantastic this game. And the Giants defense was supposed to be improved with the pass rush, but they didn't touch Sam Darnold all day. I believe Sam Darnold completed his first, 13 passes? Like first 13, 14 passes in a row. And then he finally had an incompletion. Scored a couple. Aaron Jones scored a touchdown. No, Justin Jefferson scored a touchdown because they're both on my fantasy team. And then the amazing pick six by the defender, Daniel Jones, is garbage. And the Giants are going to be picking the top five again, which is not a surprise to anybody who has common sense about football. Now the Chargers beat the Raiders 22-10. I thought they were going to win this game, but I don't think it just seems like the Chargers were playing hardball football. So not a surprise to anybody. Running the football a lot. J.K. Dobbins had a 100-yard game. Justin Herbert didn't pass that much, but he did enough to not turn the football over, and he did enough to win the game for them. So, and the Raiders, I guess, the Raiders. It doesn't look like Gardner Minshew is the answer. So, I know it's only week one, but we'll see. Seahawks barely squeezing by the Broncos, 26-20. Geno Smith looked okay. I didn't get to see a lot of this game, but I know Bo Nix kind of struggled up there. First game in Seattle, is expected to struggle. Throwing 2 interceptions, but he ran for a touchdown, so I guess he did okay for his first week, but he needs to be better, and I think he will get better because of all the playing time he's going to get. I don't know, and Seattle. I don't know about Seattle. Like Mike McDonald, he's an interesting first year head coach, but we'll see what happens with these two teams in the future. Dallas crushes Cleveland 33-17, and obviously the big headline story was Dak Prescott got paid. It was 4 years, $240 million with 231 guaranteed, richest contract ever in NFL history. The stats didn't show a lot. Like it didn't show he was a $231 million guaranteed quarterback, but he managed the game. He did what he was supposed to do. He took care of business, and same with CeeDee Lamb, who's the second highest paid wide receiver. And Deshaun Watson shit the bed. The Browns looked terrible offensively. Defensively, they couldn't really do much because of being tired on the field all the time. And now Deshaun Watson's even more trouble because someone else is suing him for sexual assault. And we'll see. He actually might be kicked out of the league, but we will find out more later on. That is impending. We will see. And now, Bucks beat the Commanders 37-20. Not a surprise there. Baker Mayfield went off. He threw for 4 touchdowns, and I believe it was the 5th time he did that. He didn't do that a lot, but happy for Baker Mayfield. He got out of Cleveland. He got his confidence back. He's got his swag back. He played good football for Tampa Bay last year. Beat my Eagles in the playoffs, and he could have beaten Detroit last year in the playoffs, but obviously Detroit was just a better football team. And Commanders, Jane Daniels did not look great throwing the football from what I saw. That's definitely something that they're going to need to work on. He needs to be better at throwing the football in order for the Commanders to have success this year. Lions beat the Rams in overtime, 26-20. Even though the Rams lost, I think they could be a very dangerous team. They lost. They didn't have Both their tackles didn't start. I think both backup tackles got hurt, and they're still able to keep up with Detroit. Matthew Stafford's great, and I believe Puka Nacua also got hurt, and that's gonna be down. That's bad for them. He's gonna be out for at least 4 weeks. But luckily, there's no ACL tear. Luckily, I forget what they said on the knee. I know it's a knee injury. I just don't remember what kind of injury it was off the top of my head. But yeah, look, Lions, they're gonna be as good. They're gonna be good as we expect them to be good now. Then that's my biggest question. Like, can they live up to the expectations of last year? Can they make it back to the NFC title game? Can they make it to the Super Bowl? Can they win the division again? And it looks like so far after 1 week, that's the answer is definitely yes. But the Rams are gonna be a sneaky team to watch out for. And now Monday night, San Francisco dominated the Jets. Luckily, Aaron Rodgers made it past 4 plays. He didn't tear his Achilles again. He didn't get hurt again, but he definitely didn't look the same. He definitely struggled a little bit. No, he did not. He didn't make any passes to the Hat Man that I know of from what I watched of the game. Yeah, that was my roommate. He heard about Aaron Rodgers' trip to smoking that ayahuasca, that good stuff, that good. And he not make any passes to the Hat Man. He did throw an interception, but it wasn't his fault. It bounced off the receiver's hand. But anyway, yeah, there's nothing really to talk about San Francisco. They're the dominant team in the NFC. They're the favorite. I guess the only big news is that I believe CMC is going to be out longer than we expected. All right. Yeah, actually, that's like the only really thing to talk about is with the 49ers is that CMC may be out for longer than we thought. It was a calf injury. Now it might be something to do with his Achilles, but it's not. But the Achilles isn't torn. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. They're gonna have to rehab CMC, but the backup running back did a great job because every running back in the Shanahan system does a great job. That's just how it works. So now let's go on to week 2. Tomorrow night, the Buffalo Bills are at the Miami Dolphins. 2-1 no teams in the division. If for the Dolphins to win, like in order for the Dolphins to win the division, to win the AFC East, they have to win games like this. They have to beat the Buffalo Bills. They have to beat winning teams. That was the biggest critique of last year. Excuse me. They only beat one winning team last year, and that was the Cowboys. So they need to be. So they need to step up, and I don't know, man. Like Josh Allen hurt his left hand, but he's still gonna be playing no matter what. I don't. Obviously, I wish NFL.com showed the favorites, but at the same time, I'm glad they don't because it's more of a fun pick. I'm going with the Dolphins at home. Just for the hell of it, I'm going with Miami at home, because I think they're a better team. Now, next game, Raiders are at Baltimore, going with the Ravens at home. Barely lost to the defending Super Bowl champs. They looked good for the most part, but same thing as they did last year. They stopped running the football with Derrick Henry for some reason. You got to keep running the football with Derrick Henry. He needs about 20 touches a game. So if they do that with Derrick Henry, they're gonna win a lot of games this year. Vegas, I love the signing of Christian Wilkins, but I don't think he's gonna be enough to help that defense out. Now the next game, Chargers at Panthers. This should be easy with the Chargers. Panthers are not looking good at all. Week 2, right? Yeah. Um, Panthers don't look good. They didn't look good for week 1, and it doesn't look good for them just in general for this year at all. So I expect Jim Harbaugh to come in there, run the football down their throats, dominate, especially with their best player on the defensive line. Was it Derek Thomas? I think I don't remember what his name was, but it's like Derek Brown. Derek Brown, I believe it is. Derek Brown. I believe he's going to be out for the year. He's hurt. I don't know how long he's hurt. He's hurt for, but I think he's going to be out for the year. Saints at Cowboys, 2-1 no teams. I hate to say it, but I think Dallas is going to win this game. Saints look. The only reason the Saints looked good because they played a really bad team. Cowboys are a much better football team than the Carolina Panthers are, and if they do what they did against Cleveland, they're gonna beat the Saints the same way. It's gonna be a similar score. Now this week we got a rematch of last year's divisional round. We got Tampa Bay at Detroit. I think Detroit's gonna win this game at home. They just looked like the better team. They looked like the better team last year. They looked like the better team this year. Their defense looked really good. I could be wrong, but I mean, it could be an upset. Tampa Bay definitely can win because Mike Evans is a fucking beast, and the biggest question for Detroit has been their defensive backs. They didn't really seem to improve. They try to improve it, but we'll see if it actually works. But I'm going with Detroit at home. Now here's an interesting game. Colts are at the Packers. Jordan Love is not playing. He's out for about 3 to 6 weeks. Will Levis is not Will Levis. I already forgot his name. The one of the quarterbacks for Tennessee, whatever his name is. He Malik Willis. That's what it was. I believe yes, it was Malik Willis. He was the starter on the Titans. He's going to be starting for the Packers this week. It's not looking good for Green Bay. He's to be out. Like I said, he's already out 36 weeks. The Colts looked the best, even though they lost. The Colts looked like a great team. They looked really great. Richardson's definitely a baller, so I'm going with the Colts on the road with a road win at Lambeau. Browns at Jaguars. The Jags should have won that game. Like, they should have beaten Miami week 1, but I believe they can do it again. I believe they can win at home. Oh, they're on the road, but I'm gonna pick Jacksonville at home over Cleveland. Cleveland's probably the favorite because of their defense, but it's gonna be the same thing. Like I don't see Deshaun Watson improving at all. Hell, who knows if he's even starting? We'll see what happens with the whole another lawsuit situation. So we're gonna figure that. That's something we're gonna have to keep our eyes on. 49ers at Vikings. This could potentially be game of the week. Like I said, I mean, I know that they only played the Giants, but Sam Darnold looked great. He knows the 49ers defense. He knows that system. So this could be a potential upset alert. But I'm still gonna go with San Francisco over Minnesota. They look like the best team in football. Definitely in the NFC, and you can definitely make the argument the best team in the NFL. So I'm going with San Francisco on the road. Seattle at New England. It was a nice road win for New England and Gerard Mayo for his first win as head coach. Two first time head coaches, but I'm going to go with Geno Smith and the Seahawks on the road over the Patriots. The Jets travel down south to Tennessee. This is actually a really interesting game. I know Aaron Rodgers played okay. The offense played okay. Defense got torched, but you can't expect a lot from playing. You can't expect the defense to hold up the whole game against the Niners. Titans should have won that game last week against the Bears. I'm going to put the Jets on the road. I think the Jets defense is going to step up. If they do the same thing that the Bears did to Will Levis and force him to throw interceptions left and right, the Jets are going to dominate this game. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to do a lot. And I'm going to pick with the Jets on the road. Giants at Commanders. Both teams lost. Both teams looked pretty bad. But at least the Commanders scored a couple of touchdowns. The Giants didn't score any touchdowns at all. So I'm going with the Commanders at home. The first division win in the NFC East will go to the Commanders. Rams at Cardinals. I'm going with the LA Rams on the road. They took their lines to overtime, even though their tackle situation is kind of iffy. But the Cardinals, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals do win at home because division games you never know how they go. And I believe the last time Arizona Cardinals won, they beat the Rams. I believe it was 2021 in LA. So I remember that year that Arizona made the playoffs. They beat the Rams on the road for the first time. But like I said, I'm going with my gut. My gut's telling me LA. I'm picking LA, even with their tackle situation looking kind of iffy. Steelers at Broncos. I'm going with Pittsburgh on the road. I trust Pittsburgh's defense more than Denver's offense, and their defense. It's gonna be another defensive domination win by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know who's starting. I think Justin Fields is starting. because I think Russell's still dealing with that calf injury, and all Justin Fields has to do is not turn the football over. That's literally his only job right now. His only job is to not make that boneheaded mistake and not do it a lot. So I'm going with the Steelers on the road. Bengals at Chiefs. T Higgins was hurt. I don't, and looks like he might be hurt for a while with that hamstring injury. I'm going with the Chiefs at home. I just think they're gonna. Chiefs are the best team in football as of right now, and they're going to continue to be the best team in football. Beating the Bengals, I won't say solidly, but they're going to beat the Bengals. And now here's an interesting Sunday night game: Bears at Texans. I'm going with the Texans at home. CJ Stroud, they just got more firepower on offense. CJ Stroud looks great. So far he's avoided the sophomore slump, even though it's early in the year. I don't trust Caleb Williams is going to make that. I don't think he's going to have that great game. I think he'll do better than 96 yards and like 50% completion. But I do think, but the Texans are at home, and I trust them more than I trust the Bears. And last but not least, the game I will be going to, Monday Night Football. Yes, I'll be at the link representing my birds against the down south dirty birds. And you know it. You know who I'm going to pick. I think it's obvious. It's pretty goddamn obvious who I'm going to pick. I'm going with the Eagles, baby. Kirk Cousins didn't look great. He looks like he's still dealing with that Achilles injury in one way or another. And when Atlanta does have their offense together, they only had it together for like one drive. Their offensive line didn't really hold up that well against Pittsburgh's defense, and I believe, although our defense isn't as good as Pittsburgh's defense as of right now, I believe it will get better. It has to get better than last year. I think we will get some pressure on Kirk Cousins because he can't move a lot, and I believe we'll force Kirk Cousins to make a couple of dumb mistakes, whether it's fumbling or making him throw a couple of interceptions. I believe it will happen, and the Eagles will win this game by a good margin. I'm gonna say at least by 10 points. So that's it. That's it for this week's episode. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again next week.